Good morning, everyone. I am going to call this meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. We'll begin with our land acknowledgement. Associated Students recognizes and acknowledges the first people of this ancestral and unceded territory of Fernandeño Tataviam Band of Mission Indians that is now occupied by our campus of California State University Northridge. Honors their elders past and present, and the descendants who are citizens of the Fernandeño Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. Associated Students recognizes that the tribe is still here, and we are committed to lifting up their stories, culture, and community. Let's now go into roll call by our Attorney General.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon.
Here.
Senator Arias Gomez.
Here.
Senator Atias.
Here.
Senator Basilio. Senator Baywa.
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa. Senator Contreras.
Here.
Senator Cunanan.
Here.
Senator Dominguez. Senator Garcia. Senator Gavino. Senator Cachidia.
Here.
Senator Kodka.
Present.
Senator Mane.
Here.
Senator Luna.
Here.
Senator Quiroga. Here. Senator Radianov.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Umana.
Here.
Senator Vicente. We have quorum.
Thank you. Let's now go into the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion? Senator Umana.
I move to approve the agenda for April 13th, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Cunanan. Is there any discussion on the approval of today's agenda? Seeing and hearing none, if there are no objections, we will be approving the agenda unanimously. All right, thank you. Let's now go into the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion? Senator Arias Gomez.
I move to approve the minutes of April 6, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Umana. Any discussion on the approval of the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, if you're in favor, please raise your hand for the approval of the minutes. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Is Becky not here yet for the employee? John, would you like to move forward with it? Okay. All right, let's now go into our special presentation related to the AS employee manuals that we have on today's agenda. So John and I believe Becky will help us with that.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Winding down the semester, so finish strong, of course. So as soon as we get that presentation, I can start. I'll start talking about the introduction. So what we have presented to the board today is the updated AS personnel manual for our staff employees and the updated AS student employee personnel manual for our student employees. So why have we done an update? The prior personnel manual was last published in 2019. The prior student employee manual was published in 2020. And since that time, there have been many regulatory changes that have come up and several policies that have been updated or processes that have been updated and approved by the Personnel Board. So as you're aware, the Personnel Board is the super committee, I guess, of this board that is responsible for the daily responsibility and decisions on employee actions. And that involves compensation, disciplinary actions, those kinds of things, anything having to do with the employment experience and those policies. The Personnel Board is responsible for making those decisions. The executive director and the human resources manager brings things to the board for review and decision. And then with certain items like the manuals themselves, they actually do require an approval by this board of directors. So that is why we're here in front of you today. The manuals were provided to you as part of the packet with a summary of the changes that were made in each one. What my plan is here today is to go over those changes with you. I'm going to talk specifically about some of them, but I'll kind of reference the other ones in a more general fashion. Both of the manuals have been reviewed by our corporate attorney. In fact, multiple times he's reviewed them. And then, of course, they were reviewed and approved at the last personnel board meeting earlier this month. So I don't know, do we have the presentation? The silence is deafening. As you all will find as you move forward in your careers, finding peace with a moment of silence is sometimes challenging because we want to keep talking as individuals. You can go one more slide and one more. So we're going to talk first about the personnel manual updates. They're kind of chunked into pages based on how they appeared. Throughout the manual, there were several grammatical corrections, errors that were corrected. Some things like there was some language that referred to the old title of the executive director. It said general manager in some places, so that was all corrected. In the introduction section and the organization, our structure, and the initial employment period section throughout pages 5 through 9, we updated language in those sections and added language where the policies can be found. It provides more specificity in where employees can find information, and that is a theme throughout the manual as well. Moving on to the next. On page 10, page 10, this talks about, this page primarily talks about, or this section talks about the types of employees that we have in our personnel in the staffing area of the organization. We further defined and updated some of the definitions of the temporary hire appointments, the emergency hire appointments, and then added language for each section that refers back to our salary schedule and our grades. Each one of our full-time position is assigned a grade in our overall salary schedule. And so that is something that's done, that was done and reviewed and approved by the Personnel Board back in 2022 when we updated that whole process. In addition, we added some language about working hours. Specifically, we added language that stated our employees are not allowed to work while off the clock, while they're not punched in, and those are for non-exempt employees. That, of course, is legal compliance, but it's also recommended by an attorney that we work with through the Auxiliary Organizations Association to add language that's specific to that, so we can go back to it if we need to speak with an employee about doing that. Most of the time they're doing it because they're trying to do a good job and they're like, oh, it's just a few things, but they're entitled to be compensated for all the work that they do. So moving on to the next. Pages 11 through 15, working hours, overtime. Again, this is language that we updated to make sure for compliance as well as our operations here on campus related to our non-exempt employees, those that are eligible for overtime. Working hours specifically is we added language about transitioning to remote work in the event that there is a need with an emergency, such as what happened in 2020. I think we all kind of knew that. That forced us to create some very quick policies, the pandemic. And then we talked about open positions in pages 13, added language about advertising, pay and hiring ranges, so that you all know we're required to put both the pay range and the hiring range in an advertisement so that individuals who are seeking employment have a really clear expectation of what they can expect if they get through the process and get to an offer. We added some updates to the process for the executive director recruitment. That particular process is defined step by step in our manual, and that when we recruited for and offered to our current executive director, Vicki, when she joined us, the personnel board made some updates to that process. In addition, we talked about in the compensation, we added that language about pay ranges. On the next. So more about pay, general salary increases. That is an increase that is oftentimes provided as kind of a cost of living type increase. And it's a general salary increase. It's approved by the personnel board, of course. Generally, it's put into the budget. Well, not generally, it's always put into the budget proposal. So it needs to be in the budget before the personnel board can approve it for the fiscal year. We updated the language because it was a little bit clunky in reading through it. Merit increases, we updated language about providing that to employees. Merit increase is another way in which we can recognize and reward performance through the annual process. And that is recognize a performance based on the performance evaluation. Talked about remove some language about when bonuses will not be offered. There is a bonus process in the manual that can be used. It's very rarely used. It has not been used in the time since I've been here in the last 6 years. But it is available to our board and our personnel board should the need come up. We talked about salary increases for managerial employees, and then a retention increase type was approved by the personnel board in 2022. So we added the language in the manual to make sure that that is updated. Performance review and employee counseling. The performance review process, we updated the language for the approval of compensation increases to state that they're approved by the personnel board. It wasn't stated in there. So again, throughout the whole manual, in both cases, we made updates to make sure that the language was more clear. We updated the language about introductory period employees and removed the merit increase language because there was something that was tied to it that's no longer been part of our business practice for quite some time. And then employee counseling, we did add language that references the appropriate policies that exist in our organization for that. We updated language to reflect our current business practice of when contributions are made for our retirement plan. The manual said it was done annually. We actually make the contributions after every single pay period. The benefit to the employee, of course, is getting that in their account for growth faster, so their retirement account grows faster. We updated language in the health and wellness area, training and staff development, tuition reimbursement. We added tuition reimbursement to that title because it wasn't clear that's what that program was. And then we updated some language around eligibility for related to California regulations. Reinstatement, duration of leave. This talks about, this is all the leaves section. Typically every year there's a lot of California regulatory updates around leaves of absence that's typically expanding more and more. And keeping up with those is always fun, but that's what we have. Some of the resources like the AOA conference that I go to, we get legal updates on that. I also am tied to several different, I get several different, lost my word. It's there somewhere where I'll find it. I get several different publications that talks about the updates to the regulatory language. So this requires a lot of updating every year. And like I said, in the leave area, we have a lot of changes. and the updates are reflected. Leave without pay. This is a new section to reflect our current business practice. We have a practice that requires the executive director to approve leave without pay for every employee who is in that situation. This helps to assure the fair processing of it so that people can't take time off without pay to save their vacation where other people are using their vacation and those kinds of things. Updated language in the policy against harassment for based on 2023 regulatory changes. We're almost there. Conflict, complaint or resolution, prohibited conduct, employee dress and personal appearance. We added some language about Magnitude Tuesday, which is great because it's something that we're all very on board with. I know that I am I've worn a red shirt every day that every week that I've worked here, except for 2, my first week and 1 week when I actually forgot. So on a Tuesday. So, and then moving on, the student employee manual. So you'll notice in the packet, the personnel manual is quite a bit larger than the student employee manual. That is by design. It's easier to have a more compact student employee manual for our student employees because when we talk about some of the policies that are benefits, things like that, that are available to full-time people, it's more challenging. Student employees get confused. It's like, do I have this? Do I not have this? One of the things that Vicki had shared with our personnel board is in one of her prior institutions, they had everything combined in one. It created quite a bit of confusion for student employees. So having a separate manual is important for that reason. So now I'm all warm. So see, I'm nervous. Y'all make me nervous. Just speaking in front of people, I typically do this. So student employee personnel manual updates. There were not as many updates in this because there aren't as many sections. But again, grammatical errors were corrected throughout, titles, those kinds of things. We did update the department information in the intro section because it referenced some old departments like recycling. We no longer have that. That is actually part of our sustainability. We talked about, we removed club chartering from the primary function sentence in our structure because we're no longer responsible for this. In the employment eligibility, we reformatted it, added a statement about student withdrawal from classes being no longer eligible. One of the things that needs to be clear in this manual is what is the eligibility factor for a student to be an employee with us, and that is enrolled in 1 unit or more at CSUN. It does exclude the Sang College of Extended Learning because that is a separate college. So that does not qualify individuals for employment eligibility with us. We have run into that in the past, so we made sure it was clear in this one. Moving on, talked about working hours. We added People Pro by GNSA instead of just putting GNSA in there. In my department, we use the 2 interchangeably, but we're trying to make sure that people understand that People Pro is the actual name of the software product that that employees use. Clarifying language around overtime, payroll deductions, sick leave, bereavement leave, jury duty. Again, leave regulations change frequently, so the updates that are in the manual are now bringing them up to code. On a side note, we'll always make sure that we're practicing the current process. We're in compliance all the time. So sometimes we will have the personnel board make changes to a policy so that our practice follows the policy. And then when we update the manual, we bring it in. So moving on. In summary, both manuals will be effective once approved by this board. They'll be distributed to our current employees, and employees will be required to sign and return the acknowledgement that's in the last page of each manual. They'll be filed in their files in the HR department, And then every new employee that starts with us and gets the copy of the manual, and they need to return the signed copy in our area. And that is also the maintaining a signature on file is one of the things that we're required to do. And that came up in our last compliance audit, and we corrected the process before it became an actual finding. It was just a note in the compliance audit. So that's it. Oh, there you are.
Yes. So that was a great round of applause, but I want to give a bigger one after I make a couple of statements. So updating a personnel manual for our full-time employees and our student assistants is quite a task. California, just like any other state, has a lot of things that happen at the legislative level that requires that ongoing diligence to see what those things are, understand how they impact our organization, and make sure that we're in compliance. John has done an exceptional job. This process started with our personnel board back in November, and the personnel board had us make a variety of different changes over the course of time so that we could bring this to them, get them to have what they would need to feel confident in the work that was done. The work has always been exceptional. And so I just really want to acknowledge here at the Senate meeting just the work that John has done prior to my arrival. So it was one of the first documents that I got in July. We then set up a timetable to look at when it could go to the personnel board just due to other things, and then making some adjustments as the personnel board provided some feedback. So let's give John a large applause, okay? Our employees will definitely appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, John and Vicky. Any questions from the board? All right, seeing none, thank you. All right, let's now go into open forum. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the Associated Student Senate regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is James Forrester, I serve as Programs Manager. Just here to give you all an update on our programs for this week. So there are 2 events that we're hosting and a couple that we're participating in. One, we'll be participating in the Student Athlete Varsity Award Ceremony, which is tonight. So we'll be there running the photo booth for them. Tomorrow on Tuesday, 10 to 2:30, Farmers Market out on Lindley Avenue. So that'll be out there just like a normal market. On Wednesday, the Institute for Sustainability, along with the college that oversees them, are hosting their EV car show. That'll be out in Matador Square on Wednesday from 10 to 3. AS Sustainability will be out there tabling, just kind of promoting. We'll be giving away some essential oil car diffusers. So if you would like one of those, stop on by our table, stop by the car show. And then finally on Thursday Thrift from 10 to 2. I also believe there will be some type of entrepreneur club activity out there as well on Baramian Lawn, roughly around the same time. And then just as a heads up reminder, I think the USU is hosting Matador Nights, Night Market on Friday as well. So, and that's all the programs that I'm aware of. Thank you all.
Thank you, James. Anyone else for open forum?
Good morning, everyone. This is Carlos Jimenez Salgado from CSUN Athletics. So just want to give you some quick sport updates that happened this week and what we have coming this week. So our women's tennis team is currently 9-2 at home, and they're currently on a 5-game winning streak. So they've been doing pretty well so far. So round of applause to them. Yeah, so if you haven't had a chance, I think they have 2 home games left for the rest of the season. So they're looking to finish out strong. And then our women's softball team's currently going to play UC Davis at UC Davis today for a doubleheader. So hopefully they win that. They're right there. If they continue to win, they'll be for sure in the Big West tournament, which is coming up in a few weeks. And then also our men's volleyball team is currently traveling to Hawaii to play on Friday and Saturday. Hawaii is currently the number 2 team in the country. So if they win, that'll be a huge win for us. And then after that, our men's volleyball team will get ready for the Big West tournament also the following week. And then our baseball team is going to have a home series starting on Tuesday. They'll play LMU. And then this Friday through Sunday, they're going to be playing against UC Davis as well. And then Saturday, also our most valuable professor game, where the baseball players will invite some of their favorite professors. So if you have time, come out on Saturday. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Anyone else here for open forum? All right, seeing none, let's now move over unfinished business and let's go into new business. Is there any motion? Senator Umana?
I move to approve the WAS personnel manual.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Quiroga. Any discussion? Senator Cabrera Figueroa?
Permission to be recognized?
Granted. Senator Dominguez?
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Any other discussion? I would like to mention, just on top of what the presentation that we got this morning, is that the personnel board is or the voting members are composed of Dr. Watkins, I believe Curie, and I, right? And so it's us four that we have received, I think, this manual since the January meetings. So we have been revising it. Dr. Watkins has also been revising it. It has been thoroughly approved, and now it has come up to you all as the final members to decide. So hopefully you all had the chance to revise it, ask any questions. So the time is all yours from here on. Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Thank you. I just had a specific question on a technicality in it. So we were discussing a little bit on the new language referring the pay grades and what's being explained to people. And I noticed in the language it says that it's given to employees upon request. Do you know if there is anywhere that it is that the pay grades themselves are stated, and are these reviewed annually?
So just like anything within personnel, our pay grades always go to the personnel board. They were actually just recently approved to be in compliance with the increase in the minimum wage for our student employees. And that was not at a recent personnel board meeting, but it was at the prior personnel board meeting. So this is something that is easily accessible for folks. And based on, in terms of our student assistant positions, they all have classifications based on their position descriptions, the tasks, skills that are required for their job. And so once they are hired into a position, they will start in that class. And again, it seems annually the City of Los Angeles increases minimum wage, and so we adjust. The other thing that I think the AS has done exceptionally well is that we've ensured that there is not a salary compression. So what happens is all the scales are adjusted so that students stay within the range based on skills, scope of work.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay, thank you. All right. Any further questions, discussions from the board? Senator Arias Gomez?
I could be very wrong about this because I kind of like briefly read it while I was on my way here, but I feel like there wasn't any specified mentions of differences in terms of the hourly pay employees and also how we get paid, which is via stipend. And I was just wondering if that was included or it wasn't, because I wasn't sure if like those benefits also applied to like us as well as people that get paid via stipend.
Executive Director Allen.
Okay, so a stipend is not a wage. It's not a compensation, right? So it is something that you are awarded as part of the position that you are in. you're not an employee of the associated students in the same way that the state would define employment. And that is why it's not covered in our student assistant employee manual.
Thank you. Any other questions? Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
This is just because I am not aware of the process for student employees. But for the performance reviews for student employees, does that occur on a monthly basis, or is there a specific time schedule for it?
If we were doing monthly evaluations of employees, we would be doing evaluations all the time. So they're not monthly evaluations for student employees. That is something that is determined by the department. Some of our employees work shorter periods of time. They don't work necessarily the entire year. They may only work on specialized projects. And so one of the things I think that our staff does incredibly well is that giving ongoing feedback to our employees, but it's not something that happens monthly. Traditionally, evaluations are done on an annual basis.
Yes, and the way I've seen it work, we can't disclose too much because of like personnel, but the way we see it work is the manager would usually bring that up to the board, and then the personnel board is the one who ultimately approves if the work to be a raise. So usually is like the employee has the performance, then the manager sort of like recognizes that and then brings it up to the board for approval for that compensation raise. Okay, any other further questions? Discussions? Good. Seeing none, let's now go into voting. If you are in favor of approving the updated AS personnel manual, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Let's now go into line item B. Is there a motion? Senator Baywa?
I move to approve the updated AS Student Employee Personnel Manual.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Dominguez. Any discussion on the AS Student Employee Personnel Manual? I'll give you a little bit of time. All right, last call for any discussion, questions. Okay, let's now go into voting. If you are in favor of approving the updated AS Student Employee Personnel Manual, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Jan. Thank you so much for your work. All right, let's now move on to reports. Beginning with our president's report, and our government secretary will help us read it.
She didn't attach it. She sent an email and didn't attach it. Okay, I guess we don't.
All right, thank you, Madeline. I'll make sure I let her know so that she can forward that to you at the end of the meeting. That way you can have her report with you. Let's now move into, but just for everyone to know, she's unable to be here today because she is going to be traveling to DC with President Beck and our government relationships officers for Hell Day. So we wish her all the best with our season delegation. Let's now move into my report. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a great week. As of my report, we conducted the third Mental Health Monday of the spring semester themed to Friendship Celebration. So with over 90 attendees, we advocated for students' well-being through fun activities such as slime making. Shout out to Senator Arias Gomez for helping me run the event. I also attended the personnel board meeting and connected with Joyce Marie from IT to go over the timeline, requirements, and review process of the AI Jam submissions. This year, I will be serving as a judge. I had the opportunity to attend the transfer student mixer, so huge shout out to Senator Martinez Luna for her hard work in organizing the event. I attended the IRA March board meeting and provided updates to the provost office. So something we discussed in this meeting was how the budget allocation works for each college. Although the administration uses a historical formula, the provost office and deans are exploring the possibility of adjusting the budget percent allocations to those colleges that are impacted by inflation or any economic deficits. We chose the winners for this year's End of the Year awards, so thanks to everyone who submitted their nominations. I had my one-on-one with Executive Director Allen, and during the April CSSA System-Wide Affairs Committee, we had the following two resolutions as discussion items: opposing the recent increase in compensation for CSU presidents and reforms to the CSU alternative consultation process. So during the May meeting, we will be voting on both resolutions. So please let me know if you would like to provide any feedback and I can extend to you those drafts. Reminders for this week, I will start having the end of the semester 101s. We will go over the responsibilities and checklist of those requirements that you have fulfilled and also those that may be missing so that I can provide you with help and support. I have sent an email requesting availability for the April Council of Chairs. So if you're part of this group, please turn it in so that I can send out the agenda as soon as possible. Do not hesitate to reach out in case of any further questions, and I wish you a productive and successful week. Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, let's move on to our Chief of Staff report.
Good morning, everybody. If you didn't see, I was gone all of last week, along with two of our senators and at least one of our cabinet members, or two of our cabinet members, actually. But in line with that, I canceled the cabinet meeting because I was in New York and Kiri had a meeting with the provost. I'm also, so the event that I've been talking about, I haven't actually said what it is to any of you guys, at least in the meeting. But I'm planning a legal resource and community support fair for undocumented and mixed status families. That is now set for April 29th in the Plaza del Sol from 1 to 3. And in line with that, I had two meetings. I had a meeting with the Dream Center, which went very well. They're going to kind of run point with me on that one because it's their area of expertise. Then I also had a meeting with marketing. That went really well. Should have that hopefully finalized by the end of the week. We'll see how that goes. And then I've just been reaching out to on-campus and off-campus organizations. Most of them are legal focused. And then also that week that I was gone, I was in New York for the National Model United Nations conference, and two of our senators actually won awards. And then our school got outstanding, which is the highest that you can get in the conference. So very good. And then onto our Assistant Chair of Elections report. All of last week, I ran the AS Elections voting booths with the help of Araceli, the Elections Committee, and the street team. A huge thank you to Senator Mane for volunteering your efforts last week. This week, I'll be meeting with the committee members to reflect on what went well and what needs to be improved for the following year. And then on to our Chair of DEI report. Hi, everyone. Clear Problems success and so much fun. Thank you to everyone who helped. I would love help with the Entrepreneur Expo, which is this Thursday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And she'll be sending out an email regarding that. And then it's going to be a great event, so pull up. And then those are all the reports that I received. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, let's now move on to our Chair of Finance, Tourette's report.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful morning. So our current balance for supplemental totals, start is at $135,358. Unassigned contingency is $431,030. The philanthropy fund is $3,400. Clubs and orgs travel is at $14,262. Over the week, it was a more of a meeting heavy week, if I'm being honest. I had my one-on-one meeting with the controller Lionel. I also attended the IRA board meeting, the AS audit committee meeting, and the personnel board meeting. Yes. And I also met with the finance committee twice this week, so it was very meeting heavy. So I do have an announcement regarding the annual budget, which I've received numerous questions about. The Finance Committee has been deliberating on the annual budget since January, and the balanced budget is approximately 12.4 million. There are several upcoming changes to the Code of Finance that the Finance Committee will be reviewing and clarifying today at the Finance Committee meeting. You will have 2 weeks to review the proposed budget with the goal of finalizing and voting on it by April 27th. I will send out a Google form today so you guys can all submit any questions or feedback you may have regarding the annual budget. Additionally, you are more than welcome to meet with myself or Lionel during our office hours if you would like to discuss the budget further. My personal phone number will also be included in the Google form, so you guys are more than welcome to just text me outside my office hours if you feel the need to speak to me directly and if you can't catch me. As mentioned, the Finance Committee will be meeting today at the AS Sustainability Center at 1 p.m. today. Now moving over to the Assistant Chair of Finances report. Over the past week, good morning, everyone. Over the past week, I was in New York representing the CSUN Model UN team at the NMUN conference. Huge shout out to our team for earning the Outstanding Delegation Award. Shout out you guys. In addition, I've spent time reviewing few internal department annual budgets. Big thanks to Chair Tourette and the Finance Committee for their hard work in getting everything done during such a critical period. Additionally, Chair Tourette and I are working with the marketing department to make videos about our different types of funding that AS provides. Lastly, I will be attending the University and Internal Affairs Committee meeting this week. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions on our Chair and Assistant Chair of Finance report? Yes, Senator Arias Gomez.
Point of personal privilege.
Granted. Anything else? Budget is coming up, very exciting time. So let's now go into our Attorney General Maheshwari's report.
Good morning, everyone. It feels great to be back. First off, I just want to give a huge congratulations to our MUN team for winning Outstanding Delegation. That's essentially first place. But New York was an incredible experience and everyone represented us very well. Before I left, I met with the CSUN Academic Advisement Office, and the meeting went very well. They shared that they're planning on changing how the whole advisement experience works, and that was because of our concerns. I was able to present the 300 student responses Senator Atias and I got. And that transparency led us to meaningful conversation and real movement towards change. We're also hoping to secure a special presentation moving forward. With that being said, I want to be upfront. I'm currently catching up on a great deal of AS work and coursework. And for me, academics does come first, so I'll probably be fully caught up by Wednesday. This week is primarily about tightening things up, making sure everything runs smoothly. I'm going to be checking in with registered student organizations about their experience with the MIC and ensuring our standing committees are performing at their best. I was genuinely disappointed that 2 of our committees didn't meet this last week, but we'll address it and move forward together. We're in the final stretch of the semester, and that's exactly when it matters to stay locked in. I don't think we should coast. We need to keep the intensity high and keep executing. I genuinely believe in all of you guys, and what we're doing really matters. to our constituents and to the people in this building. We have to stay accountable, run great events, and remember, like, the work that we're doing is bigger than most of us. And yeah, let's finish that strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Sivansh. Any questions on his report? Seeing none, let's now move on to our standing committee reports. Either way, for external affairs, they were unable to meet last week, so we're going to now move into our internal affairs committee through our vice chair, Dominguez. Oh, sorry, Cabrera Figueroa.
Hello. So I was unfortunately also out last week because of the National Model United Nations Conference, as was the chair. To our knowledge, the meeting did not convene last week. So that is all the updates for the moment.
Thank you. Let's now move on to our university affairs report with our chair, Umana.
Good morning, everyone. Unfortunately, University Affairs did not meet last week, but that's a one-off. We will be meeting for the rest of the semester. Just to kind of summarize some of the referrals that are in the committee right now, we're working on a referral addressing increasing gluten-free options on campus, a referral ensuring non-food cross-contaminations on campus dining options, potential headshot service, student gas cards, naming a street after Dr. Watkins, the Vice President of Student Affairs, an improvement on Greek life outreach and communication, a review of MIC practices and structural constraints, and our newest referral, which is the Valera Nest Food Pantry reusable bags. That's all I have for today. We will meet this week for more updates on these referrals. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Any questions? Oh yeah, Senator Arias Gomez.
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Let's now move on to our Executive Director, Alan's report.
Good morning and happy Monday. I just want to again just announce that on May the 7th, we will be having the AS End of the Year celebration. You would have all received an announcement via paper list posts. So please make sure that you RSVP and plan to attend. That event will be from 5 to 7:30 in the Northridge Center. I also want to thank all of those of you who were here this past Saturday to be a part of the Admitted Matadors Day. It was a phenomenal event. There were lots of future Matadors and their families in attendance and some great moves by Maddie. So, Carlos is already gone. So I just wanted to thank all of those who were out. I also want to thank our marketing team for their work and making sure that materials were there and available to be distributed to future students and their families. This week, just so that you know, April 13th through 17th is Staff and Student Appreciation Week. And so while you are in various AS spaces, please make sure that you just thank the students and staff in particular for the work that they do on behalf of the students here in the Associated Students. The last couple of things I wanted to announce, we're in preparation for training and development. So we're working on our senior leadership retreat, which is going to be on Monday, May the 11th. That is going to be the week of finals. And then later in June, we have 2 different dates for our managers retreat. In addition, at our most recent personnel board meeting, in addition to passing the personnel manual and the student personnel manual, we also made some clarity on some policy changes and shifts that were provided at that meeting. And one of those being the Workplace Violence Prevention Program. This was something that was done in the state legislature and implemented by Cal OSHA. So back in 2024 was the first time the AS rolled out their workplace violence prevention programs. We've done some updates in order to have it still be in compliance, and we'll be rolling out new training here in the future. That's it.
Thank you, Vicky. Any questions? All right, seeing none, let's move over our university advisors report and go into our faculty advisors report.
Good morning, everyone. I lost my voice, so I'm not trying not to strain it too much. But take care of yourselves and stay healthy. and I'll see you next week. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. DeMarco. All right, let's now move on to information items. Beginning, you all have access to our Senator Basilius report. Due to her absence, we are going to go now into our Social and Behavioral Sciences Senator report with Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Awesome. So I will be multitasking because there have been updates since the form was submitted. So my college event has already been completed. We had our more than a major and minor, or I apologize, the Meet the Majors and Minors event on March 25th for the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. We had that on the South Sierra lawn. Turnout was great. A lot of people engaged. We got to speak with a lot of different students about opportunities to engage with our college and how we can further expand their educational experience. Aside from that, we're working on the personal project, continuing to work on the AS Metro Advocacy Day, also on compiling data alongside Senator Dominguez, who has been absolutely amazing in making sure we have presentable graphs that look nice, and Senator Garcia, who's also been collaborating with the process. And the standing committees, we've been making significant developments with the referrals that we have on the table at the moment. We have continued our follow throughs of resolution 4 and 5 from last year in regards to undocumented students on campus, as well as to the Project Rebound resolution that was previously made to make sure they are both accurately reflecting the situation of these students on campus, being voiced by the students. More than that, we've also been reviewing internal code revisions, potential amendments and clarifications, re-examining, as mentioned, the past resolutions, and connecting our departments through meaningful conversations. We have met with several student employees to discuss concerns and make sure we're uplifting those concerns when we have had our lobbying and advocacy days. Past that, in my office hours, it's been primarily dedicated to scheduling meetings, attending said meetings, discussing with staff and co-senators about projects that both myself or they are working on, evaluating existing spaces for events, connecting with my dean and faculty in the office, and refining the senator transition packet. So in regards to those things, the senator transition packet has actually been submitted to our manager for final review and submission. So hopefully everything is good there, and she will confirm there are minimal, if no edits. I actually had a wonderful time attending Admitted Matadors Day. I was a speaker for the political science department from 10 to 11. And then I was grateful to be able to watch my co-senator be the moderator for the College of Social and Behavioral Science overall's student panel. So great engaging there. And as mentioned by our Attorney General, I hope we end the semester strong.
Thank you, Marcelo. Any questions? Seeing none, let's now move on to her graduate senator's report with Senator Mane.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had good weekend. Starting with my office hours, during this time, I mainly focused on planning for my Senate event and continuing work on my personal project. I also met with the administrative coordinator of graduate studies to discuss ideas on how we can improve our event and make it more engaging for graduate students. Along with that, I serve on the Internal Affairs Committee, and we've had discussions about past resolutions and code revisions. As part of that, I'm currently reviewing the chair of DEI and DI committee code. For my personal project, I am working on outlining the graduate resource guide while identifying key campus departments to include. I am steadily working towards creating a resource that will be easy for graduate students to use and navigate. For my Senate event, Elise and I have planned a graduate student resource and networking mixer. The goal of this event would be to create a networking style space for graduate students to connect with campus resources and administrators. We unfortunately had to postpone our event, so the time and venue are still being finalized, and we will keep the Senate updated once those details are confirmed. That's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshay. Any questions? Seeing none, let's move on to our Engineering Computer Science Senator report with Senator Dominguez.
Hello, everyone. So on the agenda, my report isn't there because I unfortunately wasn't able to fill it out in time. But so for my Senate event, it's actually been postponed, and I'm gonna have to like work on that and probably change the event just because it has been difficult to secure a location for my event. But I'm like currently working on that. And then for my personal project, that was completed with the Cultural Unity Showcase, where I created a graphic that was displayed during the event that showcased like the different identities that represent that represent us, like the Senate, and like to show students like a way to connect to us and like based like on our different identities and cultures. For my standing committee, I've been working with Eddie and like with the committee on like all the different referrals that we have, and then as well as submitting some of my own. So it's been really fun to be able to work on that. And then for my office hours, I've been sending emails, attending different events on campus, and then also for March when I met with my dean, me and my co-senator and my co-senator discussed with the dean like different issues that like the students in our college are facing, as like which include like limited like study spaces, and then like things like around that nature, and like ways that we can tackle that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro. Any questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move over discussion items, legislative referrals, and we are now at announcements. Is there any announcements from the board? Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Apologies, just a moment. Here it is. So this week, the Political Science Student Association will be having a meeting. Actually be having a mixer in collaboration with Pi Sigma Alpha, which is the honor society for the political science department. If you would like to attend, or if are just interested in understanding what exactly these two things are, how students can get engaged with it, or just want to learn more about political science, why people are interested in it, how it impacts our world today, that'll be this Wednesday, April 15th at 4 p.m. in the Altadena room and at the East Conference Center. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Senator Martinez Luna.
Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great start to your week. I just wanted to share with you guys the exhibition that's put on every year by the WRRC. It aims to highlight the experience of sexual assault and violence survivors throughout display. So this is located in the USU. It's throughout the whole month of April. So if you have the time, I would really appreciate if you guys could check that out. And then there's also a survey and other resources available. And then I believe a couple weeks ago, it was mentioned how the NAST has some limitations on what resources they offer. So I also wanted to share with you guys that the WRRC offers fresh produce every Tuesday. So you guys could follow the account on Instagram. We also offer hygiene products and feminine hygiene products. So it's tampons, pads, reusable menstrual products. And then we also have information about a bunch of other resources, and you're all welcome to utilize this space. Thank you.
Thank you. Any announcements, Senator Beiwa?
Yes. Oh, Jesus, sorry. Hello, everybody. So my announcement is the Cultural Leadership Collective, or my Senate that I've been working with Senator Marcelo and Chair of DEI Hermione, started off and kicked off last week, and it was a hit. We had a lot of people turn out, and we talked about Dean Sarty was there, Kiri was there, Caesar was there, and they talked about AS, they talked about different leadership pathways like CSSA, and all the different things, and like a student board of trustees and all the different things. This week we're talking about conflict resolution, and it's going to be with Professor Mega.
Yes, with Dr. Mega in the communications department, who is she is not faculty, I'm forgetting the term, but she is a speaker for the department, along with a an outside professional speaker who works in communications and will be helping to guide the conversation.
Yes, Bridget Simpson. So please, if you guys are free, please, they're gonna be talking about conflict resolution. I personally would not be there because I do have a conference, but if you guys go support Marcelo and Hermione, it's gonna be on Thursday from 5:30 to 7. It's always on Thursdays from 5:30 to 7. So thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Sorry, y'all, I missed some. So I'm sure everyone already knows, but in case you didn't, we all received the email. There's a job fair in the Northridge Center this Wednesday, 10 to 2. There will also be, as mentioned, the CLC workshop series happening on Thursday. If you would like to join, please come by, give us some feedback on how it's going. This is we're calling it an initial test run to see where we can fine tune certain points, make sure that we're actually fully applying this to students and making sure that it's really applicable to them. On Friday, I'm forgetting the club's name, but they are in the College of Engineering. They will be having their 3-pound robot competition this Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. in the Noski Auditorium. So if you're interested in battle bots, that type of thing, please feel free to attend. Our team is submitting 3 robots for competition, so it'll be very interesting to see how we hold up. And then as an extracurricular thing, if anyone's interested, not that local, a politician, Lindsay Horvath, is having a campaigning event for LA Supervisor. If you're interested in attending that, please reach out to me. I will send you all the information. That will be today, 6 to 8 p.m. in West Hollywood. Thank you.
Thank you. Any last announcements, Vicky?
So our meeting is ending quite early, so there is a special meeting at 10:30. I just want to remind you all.
Thank you. Any other comments, announcements? Once again, if you get more announcements, we can also do them in our next meeting. But let's now go into our final roll call with Attorney General Maheshwari.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon.
Here.
Senator Arias Gomez.
Here.
Senator Andretias.
Here.
Senator Basilio. Senator Baywa.
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Here.
Senator Contreras.
Here.
Senator Cunanan.
Here.
Senator Dominguez.
Here.
Senator Garcia. Senator Gavino. Senator Kachidia.
Here.
Senator Kodka.
Present.
Senator Mane.
Here.
Senator Luna.
Here.
Senator Quiroga.
Here.
Senator Radianov.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Umana.
Here.
Senator Vicente.
All right. And before I adjourn the meeting, once again, remember we have a 25-minute break. Let's be back at 10:30 so that we can do the second part of our meeting. Very important. We are approving a lot of important things. So please be back by then so that we can start promptly. And I finally adjourn this meeting at 10:04 a.m. Thank you. Okay, thank you for being back, everyone. I now call our special meeting to order at 10:30 a.m. Let's now go into roll call by our Attorney General.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon.
Here.
Senator Arias Gomez.
Here.
Senator Atias.
Here.
Senator Basilio. Senator Baywa.
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Here.
Senator Contreras.
Here.
Senator Cunanan.
Here.
Senator Dominguez.
Here.
Senator Garcia. Senator Gavino.
Here.
Senator Kachidia.
Here.
Senator Kodka.
Present.
Senator Mane.
Here.
Senator Luna.
Here.
Senator Quiroga.
Here.
Senator Radianov.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Umana.
Here.
Senator Vicente. We have quorum.
Thank you. Let's now go into the approval of the agenda. Is there any motion on the floor? Senator Umana,
I move to approve the agenda for April 13th, 2026.
thank you. Seconded by Senator Dominguez. Any discussion on today's approval of the agenda? Seeing none, if there's no objections, we will be approving the agenda unanimously. Perfect. Motion passes. Let's now go into a special presentation with changes and guidance from AS Legal Counsel with our Executive Director, Alan.
Thank you very much. Madeline, can you pull up the bylaws? Yeah. Because I'm assuming that with the packet you received, you may not see the changes that were provided by our legal counsel. But if you'll recall, 2 weeks ago, the ad hoc committee came before you to talk about the changes that were proposed in the AS bylaws. This was to address issues that were raised during the compliance audit. And so what we have for you today is the document that has been reviewed by our legal counsel. And so on the screen behind you, if we can make that maybe a little bit larger. One of the first pieces of guidance that our attorney provided was language. And so in the red, you're going to see here to refer to as the associated students as one of the changes that was addressed throughout the document. Slow down 1 second. Scroll back down. Yes. Okay. So here in number 2, you also see here to refer to the associated students bylaws. So getting consistent with language that is pretty regularly used when developing corporate guiding documents such as bylaws. You'll see this added throughout. And if you scroll just slightly a little bit more down, you'll see here, here to refer to as the AS president, vice president, executive director. So these are areas in which he, throughout the document, made updates to. Now, there are some additional significant changes that are going to occur later in the document. So everything up until this point is that here to refer to and just clarifying that language. But as we get towards the bottom of the document, what you're now going to see is some language that really ties, I think, more nicely to what were the issues that were identified in the compliance audit. So it's towards the end of the document, you'll see a chunk of red language. So scroll slightly back. Okay, right here. So one of the things that he went ahead and added after the California Code, Education Code, Title V, and the CSU policies and procedures, he added that. Just so that you know, on the CSU main webpage, there's a policy index. And if there are any specific policies that address auxiliary organizations, they're contained within that section. There is one primary guiding document that says CSU auxiliaries, but there's other things that sometimes speaks to us. And so he went ahead and added that as well. And then if you scroll down, again, getting more towards the end of the document, this section here. So this section here, which is Article 16 Amendment and Codes Revised, and then it talks about the amendment authority. And so again, once again, it is still staying within the supermajority in terms of 2/3, but you'll see that as we roll through this section, scrolling down, he's then talking about the authority, so authorized removal of directors, and he gives us a specific California Corporations Code that this addresses. So this was something that we actually missed in our review of it. It was actually within the compliance document. We addressed it, but we did not then put the code specification that was driving that particular change in the code. So that was one significant section that our attorney added. And then if you go ahead and scroll down this section here, which talks about the supremacy of law and severability. I did not probably pronounce that correctly, but again, it gives the order in terms of governing documents. So it talks about any provisions inconsistent with applicable laws or CSU policies shall be reformed or severed. The board is authorized to adopt conforming amendments to maintain compliance. All provisions of these bylaws shall be interpreted consistent with, and then listing the codes, the California Corp Code, the California Ed Code, Title V of the California Code of Regulations, and CSU policies and procedures. So this, again, like I said, was thoroughly reviewed by our attorney, even adding the date of hopefully adoption by our students. And so like I said, the previous document that you had received with the PowerPoint would have had the changes that have made it, and all the things that are in red here are additional changes to what was previously shared with you. Questions? All right. Oh,
Not really a question. Just thank you and thank you to everyone else who put in the effort of doing all this. This clarification really helps a lot in transparency, and then also for any new people coming in to be able to understand where things are connecting.
thank you so much. Right.
Thank you, Vicky. We'll move on to open forum. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the Associated Student Senate regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes.
So this is going to be relatively brief, but I thought I would go ahead and speak on the second item that is on the agenda. And this is a recommendation from the audit committee to approve a new auditing firm. So you'll see within your packet information from Aldridge, which is the auditing firm that the audit committee on Friday approved. Just a little bit of background. We have been working with an auditing firm called ConResnick for quite some time within the Associated Students. They do 3 financial audits for us in our 990s. So they do our fiscal year audit for the CSU. They do a child care center audit for the California Department of Ed. They do a child care center audit for the California Department of Social Services, and they complete our annual IRS filings of our 990s. So this is a company that the Associated Students has worked with for a number of years. And so as I arrived and began to go through the auditing process, there was already many things that were brought to my attention by Tim Shapansky, currently our Associate Executive Director, as well as our Controller, Lionel Lawrence, in terms of how they've worked with them. Just so you know, ConResnick provides auditing services for multiple auxiliaries on campus. The Associate Students being the largest of the auxiliaries that they provide services to. One of the things that I did not feel was happening was that given our cost of contracting their services, they were not giving us the types of deliverables that I thought were important. One of the things that I found very concerning is that we would get very late documents, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, in hopes of having responses by 8 or 9 the next morning. During the auditing process last semester, your controller, as well as myself, met many times over Zoom, starting at 2 a.m. in the morning until 6 a.m. in order to make sure that we got the audit in on time. It was critical that the audit was in on time for us because the previous year, working with ConResnick, we were late, and so therefore the university was late. So one of my charges was to make sure we did not have a late audit. And so we're excited to present this new auditing firm with you, and I'll answer more extensive questions that you may have during the actual action item.
Thank you, Vicky. Anyone else here for open forum? Seeing none, let's now skip over reports and go into new business. Is there a motion? Senator Gavino.
I move to approve the revised bylaws to be placed on the ballot for a special election.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Quiroga. Any discussion? Senator Gavino?
If you have any questions for the Attorney General or I, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Okay. Seeing no other questions, last call for questions. All right. If you're in favor of approving the revised bylaws to be placed on the ballot for a special election, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Let's go now into line item B. Is there a motion? Senator Baywa?
I move to approve the recommendations from the audit committee on an audit.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Umana. Any discussion? Senator Cabrera Figueroa?
Yeah, so for this audit company compared to the previous audit company, will there be any change in the cost, and will it be a significant change that should be considered into our budget determinations?
Thank you so much for that question. If you can turn in your packet to page 13, you're going to see the cost for the audit. So you'll see that they've identified all 3 audits as well as the 990s. They are providing us for the campus-based audit, the CSU audit, a $19,110 discount. For the Children's Center audit, an $8,200 discount, and for the tax returns, a $250 discount. The amount is currently in line with what we're paying our current auditing firms. In addition, you'll see on page 14 that they provide the years in terms of the increases. So that you'll note that when you contract an auditing firm, generally, historically, you're going to have 3-year minimum. You're not going to do an audit firm for a single year. The very first year of the audit is going to be tough. It's going to be tough because it's an auditing firm coming in for the first time. They are very familiar with auxiliaries and associated students. If you go back to page 1, you'll see the types of organizations that they work with. And then if you go to, hold on one second. Thought I bookmarked that page too. You'll see a list of the other Cal State University campuses that they work with. So that is actually on the letter. So right when you get to the first part of attachment 2, you'll see that they currently work with Cal State Northridge, and you might be thinking, well, who do they work with if the Student Union, the Foundation, and the TUC use ConResnick? They also provide accounting and financial services support for our University Student Union. So the other campuses, as you can see, like-sized campuses, Cal State Long Beach, Fullerton, Cal State LA, a lot of LA-based schools currently utilize this firm, so I'm very familiar with that. But from a cost savings, there's not going to be an increased cost for us in contracting with Aldridge.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay, seeing none, if you're in favor of approving the recommendations from the audit committee on an audit firm, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Let's now go into final roll call.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon.
Here.
Senator Arias Gomez.
Here.
Senator Atias.
Here.
Senator Basilio. Senator Baywa.
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Here.
Senator Contreras.
Here.
Senator Cunanan.
Here.
Senator Dominguez.
Here.
Senator Garcia. Senator Gavino.
Here.
Senator Kachidia.
Here.
Senator Kodka.
Here.
Senator Mane.
Here.
Senator Luna.
Here.
Senator Quiroga.
Here.
Senator Radianov.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Umana.
Here.
Senator Vicente.
Thank you. I adjourn this meeting at 10:46 a.m. Have a great day.